Verbally Effective with Ina Esco is an interview-style podcast that intersects art, culture, politics, and entertainment with a Memphis focus. With producer Sana Marie. Each week, I'm joined by a featured guest with roots in Memphis. Verbally Effective delves into each guest's personal journey to uncover the incredible stories fueling their purpose, the highs and lows of their pursuits, and how through their passion, they are moving the culture forward. Be sure to follow Verbally Effective and Ina Esco on Instagram. Also, download the Verbally Effective podcast on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Play Music. Don't forget to check out the website and submit to be a guest at verballyeffective.com. Greetings, and welcome to another edition of the Verbally Effective Podcast. I am your host, your double E, Ina Esco. You know this podcast is all about art, culture, politics, and entertainment with a Memphis focus. And I need you to hit me up on that cash tag right now because this is a production, right? And I need your support. Cash tag Ina Esco. That's ENAESCO on Cash App. Also, get you some merch. IvyMultimediaShop.com. Get your hoodies, get your tees, get your Henry mask. And you know what? Today I'm very excited because my good friend is in the building with me. I've met him quite a few years ago, and what I can tell you, he is one of the most interesting people you'll ever meet. He knows a lot about the city of Memphis. He's an entrepreneur, and he is going to push you, and he's going to motivate you. He is a wealth of knowledge, and he is the executive director over there at Western Tennessee A&M. I'm talking about Kier Thomas. Hi, Kier.
Hello. How you doing today?
I'm lovely. How you doing today,
I'm
sir?
outstanding.
Yes. You know what? I just saw you this past weekend, right? You brought the Henry brothers in town. I was just talking about them getting a Henry mask from IvyMultimediaShop.com, but you actually brought them to the city of Memphis to be recognized, right?
Yes.
Tell me about that. How did that come together?
Patrick and Jamar, a.k.a. Rich and Chase are very good friends of mine. And it started some 6 weeks ago, and I said, let me do something for someone else who I believe is very well deserving. And next thing you know, the city was on board, the county was on board, and they were on a plane in Memphis. And we celebrated the works that they've done and the sacrifices. And they just represent us very well.
They do. They do.
Represent us very well.
And is that something like that whole weekend, is that something hard to sell to the Memphis city and county for you to get a day in Memphis and the keys to the city? Was it a hard sell?
No, it actually happened 48 hours.
Wow.
Everybody was all in.
Do you think it was because of the Henry brothers, because of what they do?
I think so, but it's all in the way that you present it. I made sure that when I took that first step, that I had as much information to pass on to them so they can clearly understand who they were. So it wasn't a lag in time because I didn't do my due diligence in presenting it the right way. So I made sure I had the Vogue article, the Forbes article, as many pictures as I can find, and I put together a digital magazine. And I sent it to them, and it was in PDF so they could share it with other people. And oddly enough, they knew the mask, but didn't know the individuals behind the mask.
From Memphis.
From Memphis.
Wow, that was really beautiful. I'm so proud of those guys.
Thank you. Yes,
Former Verbally Effective podcast guests. And now Kier Thomas is in the building. Kier, I want you to let everybody know, what part of Memphis are you from?
Originally born in South Memphis, I attended A.B. Hill Elementary on Latham. And years later, my parents moved to Whitehaven, and I went to Hillcrest High School from 7th through 12th.
So you're a product of the Haven as well.
Yes.
How did you enjoy growing up in Whitehaven? Because I think them was the good old days when you were growing up. The good old days.
It was very community oriented.
Yes.
It was multitude of socioeconomic people. It wasn't segregated. It was people that worked at FedEx or people that might have worked for the city next door to one another. And their children attended school there. And you had huge parental support at games, at functions at school. And, so yeah, it was very community oriented. And I got a whole total different story on that. What happened, what happened part.
To Whitehaven?
Yeah.
What happened to Whitehaven? Wait, first, before you begin, I get a lot of guests that are from Whitehaven. And what I can say about people that are from Whitehaven, that grew up in Whitehaven, I'm talking about very proud of that area.
Yes.
A lot of entrepreneurs out of Whitehaven.
Tons.
So what happened?
I think that the shift from initially Memphis was so segregated. Here's a history lesson. Union Avenue, they don't know what Union Avenue represents.
So what does Union Avenue represent? Because I'm very familiar with Union Avenue.
A lot of people believe it was because of the Union Army. No, that was the street that joined South Memphis to North Memphis. Those were two different cities. And the street that joined them was Union. So you had a lot of segregation. You had a lot of people coming from Arkansas over to North Memphis. A lot of people coming from Mississippi to South Memphis to live in segregated. And as we moved and migrated from North Memphis to Raleigh, from South Memphis to Whitehaven, so on and so on, we took our financial powers and shifted the money. And of course, up until the point where the county was primarily where Hickory Hill is.
That was the county.
That was county.
Gotcha.
Where Hickory Ridge Mall is, that was the county. And that changed when I came back to Memphis, and they kept moving the line up to Riverdale, which used to be Germantown Extended and all this. Each time they kept moving the line, we as African Americans kept moving with it. And every time we would leave some people behind that could not afford to make the move with us. That uncle who went to Vietnam War, who had some issues, stayed with grandmama, et cetera, including grandmama. We would go back over there for Thanksgiving. But we would live in these other areas, therefore diluting our economic power. And we're still doing it. We moving further and further away. And what is happening to North and South Memphis right about now?
Now, North Memphis is thriving.
And so is South Memphis.
I don't hear much about South Memphis. I know North Memphis now.
I just finished a development on Crump that was $500,000 just last year. And it was for a warehouse. But if you look at it, people don't know where the lines are drawn. If you look at the part on the end where Crump meets downtown, over there by, what are the condos up on the river? Those newer apartments on that end, they use South Memphis zip code, the Bluffs.
Like
and those apartments going towards Crump, they use federal monies because they use South Memphis zip codes. So, yeah, it's developing too. It's just everything is redlined.
You need to know where them lines at, right?
And depending on where the money is, the lines move. And if it
So
moves,
you said all of this to say that Whitehaven has changed because a lot of people were left behind as years have gone by.
Even with people leaving behind or leaving it behind, it has the strongest home ownership in Memphis, that neighborhood. And there are outside developments that are happening due to Elvis Presley and Elvis Presley Enterprises and all of those things. But how much of the people that live in that neighborhood? I was a part of a team to bring in Magic Johnson Theaters. Myself and Vincent Moore, who both graduated from Hillcrest. Magic's assistant went to Whitehaven High School. She set up a meeting for Nard and Company, which owns the Whitehaven Shopping Plaza and the Poplar Shopping Plaza, flew us out to Vegas to meet with Magic, and it was pretty much a done deal.
But what happened?
There's a theater company called Malco.
Malco got it.
They made it go away.
Oh.
Because then they would have been introducing competition. So it's good to make it go away. Because that deal was done. That deal was, the ink was dry on that deal.
Kier.
Yeah, what's happening?
Let's back up a bit.
Let's go.
So you grew up in Whitehaven.
Yes.
And you said you attended, what high school was that?
Hillcrest.
Hillcrest. Tell me what Kier was involved in at Hillcrest.
Well, I was an athlete, but I was really a nerd.
That's a good combination.
Yeah, I really didn't want to play sports.
Okay. Well, why did you play? Trying to get them girls.
I was good at it.
Okay.
I was really good at it, and I knew how to direct that energy towards it, and it was just good to be in the camaraderie of my brothers, and I think that's really what it was, because the first thing you ask an athlete what they miss after it's over with is the camaraderie with the guys. It's like a brotherhood. But I was really that guy that went to the computer room to hang out in the computer room in between classes, hence where I am right now. That's what I was. I was an athlete. I was on the state championship team as a starter, as a 9th grader.
Okay.
Brought Memphis his first state championship. It wasn't Whitehaven. It was Hillcrest High School.
It was Hillcrest.
1985.
85 on y'all.
With Coach Sonny Hicks, Vince Moore, Greg Pollard. Euless Mays. It was a whole team of us. But it was just a special time because we didn't have much.
Okay.
We didn't have much.
What did you do after Hillcrest?
I accepted a scholarship to Jackson State University.
JSU.
Yeah, I played football at Jackson State for 4 years. Graduated in 93.
What did you major in?
Criminology, Justice Services.
I thought you would have said computer science. It was criminology. You were trying to be a lawyer around here?
Yes, actually, I went into law enforcement and worked for Shelby County government after that. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Grandfather, father, all in law enforcement. So I thought I was going to do that for the rest of my life. So when I was in grad school, I worked my way through grad school by being an officer on the Jackson Police Department in Jackson, Mississippi.
Wait a minute. So you was a whole officer out here in Jackson, Mississippi. How was that experience, especially being in Jackson, Mississippi? Because I tell you, I was recently there over the summer with my son with AAU, and it still kind of gave me chills. I mean, they had a whole fight up in the restaurant we were in. I was like, they ain't getting down like this in Jackson? I didn't know.
It wasn't for me.
It wasn't for you?
It wasn't.
Did you experience discrimination in Jackson as an officer?
In Mississippi, yes.
Yes.
And a true story, we were visiting some friends in Mississippi Valley. We were going to Greenwood, Mississippi. And we stopped off at the Kmart in Greenwood. It might have been Greenville or Greenwood, but it's one of the two. So we went inside of the Super Kmart or the Kmart to get a cooler, because we were finna buy some libations. Right. You know what I'm saying. And next thing I know, we were standing on the aisle where the sporting goods area, and they said, security, come to sporting goods. So I'm from Memphis. So I'm like, ain't we in sport?
In Greenwood at that.
Now we come rolling through there in some nice cars. Okay, so as we're standing there, I see security at one end of the aisle, and I see police at the other end of the aisle, and I see myself and my teammates in the middle of the aisle. And I look back up again. I say, yeah, we in sporting goods, so I guess that security was called for us. And the police officer said we were told that there were some black guys shoplifting.
There we go with that.
And I'm radical, because I'm HBCU. I said, look at the cars out in that parking lot. I said, does it look like people still to drive BMWs and so on and so on and so on? Shout out to Hollywood. That's Willie Evans. He had a red BMW in college, and all these guys.
Hey,
we
Hollywood.
weren't rich. We had good parents that looked out for us. And I think that's what drew attention to us coming in. But yeah, we were put out of the store.
Didn't find anything on you guys.
No, absolutely not. I mean, we were standing there trying to figure out which size cooler we should get. So we standing there, but me being the guy from South Memphis / Whitehaven, I'm looking up at signs like I just heard them say over the intercom, sporting goods and
you
security.
Was prepared.
I was prepared. So, that was the only thing, because Jackson State is in the urban neighborhood, and it's a lot of love around there.
Wow.
The I love, yes.
The I love. So what happened? You said you were an officer out there in Jackson.
Yes.
What happened to that career? And what did you do after that?
Great question. My parents came to visit me in my apartment, and I had a gun in every room. And I was like, no, don't sit right there. No, don't sit right there. And my mom was like, boy, what is going on with you?
You was paranoid.
Yes.
Why?
it ain't cut out for some people. And I realized my mom, human resource type of person, she's able to assess. She said, son, maybe this career not for you. I had one in the kitchen, I never forget, in the cookie jar. A gun there, and I had one.
Ready, Freddy.
Yeah, I didn't want to get caught slipping if I was in a one-bedroom apartment on top of that.
You had them guns too many places.
And what it was that, and I commend the police officers and law enforcement officers in this city, because I know a lot of them, and it's hard to separate and to live a life of normality where, people, you bring that paranoia home because you might have seen a death, a suicide, and get cussed out by a person you were pulling over, and then you take that home. And it's hard to be, deprogrammed out of that. So, yeah, I moved back to Memphis after finishing grad school and started working for Shelby County government.
Wow. And what were you doing with Shelby County government?
I was working for juvenile court as a probation counselor.
Wow.
I
How
love
was
that.
that?
Oh, that was fly.
You like that?
That was fly. Yeah, because you with the court position, you can dictate some moves that's in the best interest of the child. And if the child is not in a good situation, the parents can't do nothing about it but go along with it. And what I learned early is you can't tell a parent that they're bad, but if he's coming in at 3 o'clock in the morning and we pull his school record and he ain't been to school in 4 weeks, and then the grades he do have are all F's and U's, something's not right. And so the court system was designed to work in the best interest of the child, and we used every resource not to lock them up, but to kind of help change their lives. The only thing was, there were 40 probation officers, only 3 black men.
In Memphis, with a majority African American.
And 85% African American males coming through those doors. Figure that out. What's that?
Nepotism and some old shit.
Oh, it's
plenty of that, I know. Oh. So you saw pretty much, from a government standpoint in Memphis, the breakdown in, diversity. You're right in the midst of it. And what could you do?
Well, I set out on a pathway of saying, well, let me go back to when I was working the court system. I'm looking out the window. Here comes my mama calling my office one day.
Mama be knowing.
She says, how's your day? Yeah. Shout out to all the moms. She says, what's going on with you? I said, not happy. She says, is it the job? I said, I thought this was what I was supposed to do. I got the degrees in it and all of those things. She said, son, just map out your next move and make it. And it was like somebody stuck a key in my head and unlocked it. And I started saying stuff like, you mean to tell me if I find something else, I can leave this? She's like, yeah, what?
You thought you was going to be working there forever.
I did. I thought that was going to be the end sum game. And then I started seeing people working there 20 years. And my supervisor at the time is the one that his name was Richard. He walked in my office. They called me KC. It stand for Hillcrest. He said, KC, I've been here 22 years. I don't make that much more than you do. I said, what? He said, yeah. Because the only way you get a raise is cost of living increase, or you get another position. But some people stay in those positions so long, they're going to be there 25 years. Well, I got to wait.
I work for the city. They're supposed to be.
So he told me, he says, I'm telling you this because I wish I would have, at the age that you are now, made a different decision.
Good.
And I took it to heart because he didn't look like he was playing. Yeah, I could see regret and some other things like, if you're going to run, you need to run right now. And I was in my early 30s. I said, feet don't fail me now.
And you ran to what?
I went to the school system. And let me show you how God works. I was sitting in that same office. I was talking to my mom, and my old high school principal called me.
Look how God works.
The school, Hillcrest, that I graduated from, Mr. Hall called me and said, "Do you want to come back and teach at your alma mater?"
Like, where they come from?
This was literally 2 weeks after I talked to my mom.
Wow.
I mean, first of all, I was trying to figure out, how did he get my number? How did he know I was here? I didn't know. So he called, and I said, yeah. He says, your old coach, Coach Battle, may be retiring, and, you work with youth already, and you'll be a good fit here. And I was like, okay. And it was so weird. I went and taught 7th and 8th grade social studies, world geography, and I was in my homeroom.
Your original homeroom.
Yes. And I'm sitting in there, and my coach is still there, my principal's still there. And
That's amazing.
The funny thing is, when I went to the teacher's lounge, I didn't feel like, I'm a grown man, but I didn't feel like I'm supposed to be in here.
Why?
This teacher's, because I'm like,
I was a student here.
yeah, but my old teachers, English teachers, they were still there. So I'm looking like, oh, there go Coach. Oh, let me go on out here and eat in my room today.
Wow. Yeah. Did you enjoy it?
I did. The strangest thing is teaching my classmates' children.
Yeah, because you was doing a lot of that.
But no.
You I know your daddy.
I'm serious. I'm like, you Tamika Kaiser, boy? Hold up, you Kim's daughter.
Isn't that crazy?
And I'm in my homeroom teaching people who were in the homeroom with me, children.
Yo, that's crazy.
It was just weird. But it was a great experience, and I had a chance to move on, and that's the trajectory that I am right now, is I took one other stint as program manager for Stax Music Academy.
Oh,
when they were just before they opened the museum. And great kids over there, and it was fun. But I knew it was a crossroads that was about to happen, back to the Magic Johnson Theater. So I'm working for Stax, and here comes the news. WRAG coming to my office, and my boss looking at me like, what is the news doing coming to your office?
To your office.
And they come and ask me questions about the movie theater. And I'm trying to, y'all supposed to come 5 o'clock, meet me around the corner. What y'all doing coming on my
all
job?
This attention.
Yeah, and that wasn't good attention, because they're like, well, if you got other options, please. But it was a good situation. It wasn't bad. They didn't let me go or nothing like that. But things started to pick up on that side, so I had to make a decision, fairness for everybody. And that's where I am right now. I started a school. Actually started originally by my grandfather in the 50s.
I saw that on your email. Tell me about your grandfather.
Reverend Jefferson H. Taylor, he was an engineer with Department of Defense, which was formerly the Army Depot. And he created the first mechanized conveyor belt systems in the United States. And it was about a $5.5 million project that he worked on in the 50s, and let alone let a black man lead that.
Okay.
He created the mechanization system, which now we use, and we call conveyor belts and automation. He did
which
that
they
back
use
then.
plenty of in Memphis, Tennessee.
Let me tell you how smooth the federal government is.
What they do?
They built a building behind my grandfather's house to get information from him in retirement. When they appraised the house, the building behind it was more expensive than the house in front of it.
That don't make no sense. They slick.
But he was involved in stuff like solar back then. See, he went for it, but he was like, you must equip it, you must build it. But he used to teach the kids in the neighborhood, drafting and engineering. That's where the school started, because all the kids used to want to come over to the shop, and he had his own school, so.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Is that your mom's father?
My mom's father, absolutely. Wow. Reverend Taylor and Thelma Taylor. They were married over 60 years when they passed, but they were, he had a very deep voice. He was very serious. He was very direct. And my grandmother, I found out something. My grandmama the one that had the power, because, see, she would give him a look,
And that's what it was.
As much as of a bravado that he had, I figured it out one day when I saw him telling a joke. And I kind of looked over at my grandmother at the same time, and she gave a look, and he stopped the joke right in the middle. I said, wait a minute.
That's that power.
That power.
That power of the,
Don't do it. Don't do it. Not my grandparents.
My daddy talk about that all the time. The
my
power
grandma and granddaddy
the,
didn't do that.
Yes.
No, they didn't.
So your granddaddy was your inspiration in starting the school. Tell me about Western Tennessee A&M.
Well, Western Tennessee A&M got its rejuvenation from Walmart and Cricket Wireless and Hilton Hotel.
See, you be getting all the deals. You be, you serving all the grants the money.
Yes. Well, it's all about leverage. Here's how it started. Hilton came on board first. Applebee's came on board with Hilton. And they paid us, at least Hilton did, was to train the employees at Embassy Suites, which is a Hilton brand, because they were about to introduce a new technology, and they want us to train, blah, blah, blah. They gave us some money. I took that and started the first phase of the school. And then here comes Walmart in a Walmart grant. The nice Walmart grant. Family. Oh, look. Let me tell you about that. Let me tell you about them people.
Walmart money, people. What? Walmart money.
Let me tell you what it was. The check sat in a P.O. box for 3 weeks.
Why?
I didn't know it was in there. They ain't even call to tell me it was in there. They weren't even looking for it.
How were you informed?
My admin at the time went to check the box, and she checked. She said it was something stuck to the side, and I must have missed it. And she said, but I got it. I said, okay, what is it? Is it a bill? She says, no. I said, well, open it up. She said, I did. She said, I thought it was a bill, but it's a check from Walmart. I said, hand it here. I said, I looked at the amount. I said, and they not missing this? And they ain't called to see why it didn't clear?
And what that check was for?
I ain't telling my business. Yes.
About $1.5 million.
Everybody's shaking their head. Look, I'm looking around the room.
It was a nice amount,
it was a nice amount, yes. Yeah, it was real good.
And that kicked off your school.
And here comes Cricket Wireless. They bought the naming right. And in the midst of Cricket Wireless coming in, AT&T buys Cricket Wireless. So there you have it. And we accumulated, but we put that money 100% back in the business, and it manifested. And we kept our prices, we kept our expenses low because our buildings were donated. 6 West G, Patterson, all of our locations were donated. And then the computers were donated by a company called ER2. And they recently donated some 750 laptops, Dell laptops. What it is so the money can go directly to the service that you're trying to provide. We don't want to be top heavy in needing all of these things to get started and to sustain ourselves. So is wherever we can leverage ourselves, we do. And we got a major announcement coming up probably in the next 2 weeks.
I need the exclusive. What does it deal with?
It deals with the city of Memphis. It deals with a nice size structure in Memphis and this workforce development being in neighborhoods. In neighborhoods, multiple neighborhoods. Let's just say community center.
Yes.
Okay.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, we don't need any more basketball courts. We need more.
No, we don't.
You know?
And you know what? Let's talk about that for a minute. Just talk about the scope of education in the city of Memphis. And even just in general, you often hear parents say, I want you to go to school to be a doctor. I need you to go to school to be a lawyer, things of that nature. But technology has changed.
Yes.
Our culture has changed. And the direction of your school is a voice for this, right?
Right, absolutely.
So talk to that, Kier.
Well, first of all, before I started the school, I enrolled in everyone's school in the subjects that I was looking to carry. I found out something very unique. First of all, certifications for entry-level IT, network systems, all of those high fancy IT jobs, there are no prerequisite. No.
You would think there would be, right?
It's not even a prerequisite to go to school to get your certification. It'll be smart to, but it's not a requirement. If you today want to be self-taught and go to a testing center tomorrow, you can get a certification right now.
You could just zip through.
So that's the first thing I noticed when I enrolled at Southwest Community College's A-plus program. I saw 15 and 16-year-olds sitting in the front row. And I saw 30 to 40-something-year-old black men wearing FedEx Coca-Cola uniforms sitting in the back row. Now, here's the game. When it's on a continued education category or catalog, you got to pay all that money up front. There is no financial aid. So if the course costs $1,700, you got to have that $1,700 paid. So typically, white kids, mother and father paid that, and then in the back row, the brothers had to save up the money to get to the 17. And the reason why I'm saying that is that you really could run this in any high school. So I went in to create an opportunity to do certifications only. No certificates, no diplomas, certifications. Because the average income for an entry-level certification is around $35,000, $40,000. So imagine a 15, 16-year-old making $35,000, $40,000.
It's possible. And
if you want to go to a school and take it, it's no longer than 3 months to study.
Quick.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's why by the time that they're 21, 22, they got about 4 or 5 certifications under their belt making 6 figures. If you look at any job description, it's only 2 things. Do you have a certification or not? And how much experience do you have working that certification?
Wow.
No high school diploma, no GED. And that's where my first student came from. I was working in a program where we were looking after kids that were on probation. So this one young man was on probation. I went to his house. I had to see where he laid his head down. Was it food in the refrigerator? And I noticed when I got to the bedroom that he had computers lined up against the wall. There were 4 of them. And I know computers, and they were high-end. I'm like, wait a minute. He dropped out of school. He got computers. He doesn't have a job. So I asked him, where did you get those computers from? As I'm making my notes. He says his cousin would come home on weekends from the Navy and take him to different places to buy the parts, and that was their time together building computers. I had just gotten, I think, 125 desktops donated by AutoZone. I said, if you fix those, come to my office tomorrow. 30 minutes later, he had 6 of them running.
Oh, he was ready.
So I went into my pocket and paid for his certification. He passed it the first time without any formal training. He didn't even have a GED or high school diploma. I had to convince him, dude, go back and get your GED and high school diploma. So my point is that if you can take a person that has certain delinquent issues or has certain things going on in his life where he's not working in a traditional school, a trade like this only stands to help them.
Really?
You know?
Seriously.
So, shout out to all the trade instructors who are undervalued. I trust me, I have a few degrees, but yeah, I haven't used them in a minute. I use these certifications.
It's so many kids right now, including my 16-year-old.
Okay.
They're rethinking this college route.
Oh, yeah.
They trying to get to the money.
Yes.
ASAP.
Yeah, and they should.
Yes.
They should. I mean, more money, less expenses, because you go to college, you got this thing called debt, unless you playing basketball, playing football, or whatever.
Scholarships, you got to meet their
academics.
GPA.
You got to rock and then your opportunities. And I'm all for formal education in college if you're going obviously to become a doctor, a nurse, a school teacher, an attorney. We need those out here.
Yeah, we do.
But there are some alternatives out there that we're not making normalized. We're not normalizing that along with HVAC, plumbing. Why are we not normalizing that along with a bachelor's, a master's? Because they make good money as well. But when you suppress one and you increase others, I get suspect. Yeah. Real suspect.
Well, I mean, I think we're at a moment in time where a lot of things are being reevaluated now. We have so much access to information now.
Can I give you one example of that?
Definitely.
Well, I had this client who he went through a situation where he had a car accident and he became partially disabled. So he had to have his house retrofitted to do some things for him computer-wise. He was an investor. Well, I told him when we did the assessment, your current computer's not going to work. He says, well, give me a week. I'm going to get one. And then you can come back and set up our network system. Well, I come back a week later. He says, the guy is coming over at 3 o'clock. So if you can meet me here with him, he's bringing over the CPU, Central Processing Unit. So, I can do what I need to do in terms of network systems with you. I said, okay, I'll be there. So I stood in the dining room, and I'm looking around, and I'm speaking to this young man and speaking to his mom, saying, hey, how you doing? And he comes in on the wheelchair. He says, meet the guy that just sold me a CPU. He was 14 years old. He custom built a CPU for about $3,000. He was so young that woman standing next to him had to bring him. That was his mom. He didn't even have a driver's license.
Wow.
So you mean to tell me he can make $3,000 real fast, but he couldn't even drive over there to drop it off? Yes, he can. And I was skeptical, and I said, well, let's plug it up and let's run some tests on it. I said, excuse me, young man, can I get your business card?
Come on, my team.
Yeah, come on. I might need somebody to need this. And that's the thing about trade. You either know it or you don't. Mm-hmm. You either have the experience or you don't. You can't talk this. Wow. And that's what's needed out here.
So you saw a need and you filled that gap with your whole school, your program.
Yes.
And it's thriving. Big announcements coming and some more.
Let me tell you what we did a few months ago. This is coming out of the test pilot. So we're Western Tennessee A&M School of Engineering and Design. I said we need more things design related. So I put a call out to Beverly Hills, California, to Cat Tat. She was on Black Ink Chicago. So she was, at the time she was pregnant, she was about to have her first child and all this kind of stuff. I said, what would you think about a virtual tattoo training program? So she did a drop for it. She said, not only do I love it, I believe in it. I said, okay, cool. Just send me the drop. And I looked at it, and she was talking about it. And it's becoming one of our most popular programs. Because what I found out, I said, maybe we're getting people coming into tattooing. No. We're getting people who are in tattooing and trying to enhance their skills. They might need to know how to shade or do this different or do that. But that industry is so underutilized because there is no formal school for it on a larger scale. So you get training virtually from celebrity tattoo artists, and you do an apprenticeship at a local tattoo gallery, and it comes with your equipment and everything you need, the 2 tattoo machines, the ink, everything.
Now, see, I could see my son Dallas doing that because he's
an
artist first.
Yeah. Why not? Why not? How old is he?
16.
Why not give him a chance now?
I will. Come on, let me sign him up.
I'll give him a free admission into it and give him the tattoo machine, and we'll bring him in. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah. And we just want his testimony of his experience. That'll be his payment for it. It's his testimony.
Let's do it. Like,
okay.
Seriously.
Absolutely.
So
that's
many
what
talented kids out here.
We don't do that enough. We have training wheels on their legs so long that when the real world hit them, they don't know how to take a hit. We need to give them some and my mom told me this, and my parents told me this when I got grown. My mom says, Chris, I had you for 18 years. Once you get out in the world, it's not like I don't want to catch you when you fall, but I have to trust when I had you for those 18 years, that learning going to kick in. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we got to test that right now with your boys. We need to, do you like this? Do you like this? Okay, if this the route, here's the game plan.
Yeah, because even right now with him being 16, I'm trying to break this little umbilical cord that was there, slowly but surely, giving him little tests to see, okay, he's a little more mature in that area, and it's happening so quickly now. At 16, they just and they turn into somebody else.
Yeah, and you're going to look up one day, and then you're going to be calling I call my oldest son, Keenan. I called him and I said, well, you're not going to call and check on me, And, you start calling them like, hey, what you doing?
Or do they text you?
Oh, yeah, they'll text me back, but I require a phone call.
Dads require a phone call.
No.
A FaceTime?
A FaceTime. But boy, they so grown, and my middle child is living in New York. And so, you know, it's rewarding, but now they're living and doing their thing. And you got him at 16. But when he turned 27 and he says, Mom, I'm finna catch this flight. I'll call you when I get to the hotel. And you sitting there, you and Dad are like, what we
He
finna do now?
grown now.
Yeah. Oh.
Look, hubby can't wait. Like,
See?
bye. Bye. Look, bye.
Yeah, he say that now. You're going to
Yeah.
catch him making phone calls. So what you need to do is you need to go and get the tires rotated today. And,
Okay.
he going
I
to be
can see
finding
that
reason to
happening.
call him and, you know, and all right, Dad, I'll hit you back in a minute.
I
Yeah.
could definitely see that happening. But I'm really digging like this school here and virtual
Yes.
opportunities. I mean, within a pandemic, everything is virtual. You know, even we kind of talked about this last time I saw you.
Yes.
A lot of people had to pivot and go virtual with whatever platform they had.
We've been there for 15 years. Because to go back to Walmart, they paid us to train military veterans. And as we were training them, some of them were getting deployed in the middle of training. So we had to have that platform for them to continue training some 15 years ago.
Wow.
So they can continue the training even though they were deployed. They would start off here in Memphis, but then they get a call, they got to go. So I think what has happened with the pandemic is people are understanding what is necessary and what is not. Why go all the way on the other side of town to have an hour-long meeting and we could have done it in 30 minutes on the Zoom?
Baby, all you need is a phone.
Come on now.
All you need is a phone.
Yes.
Now, I do want to pick your
Sure.
brain on this.
Yeah.
Speaking of the pandemic, there's so many sides of the spectrum going on right now, especially with how we're moving forward in society. We
Okay.
got the vaccine, right?
Right.
And look, for example, NBA, you got your Kyrie over here saying,
Right.
you can't tell me what to do with my body. Yeah, I'm
Right.
losing money, but this is my body,
Right.
and I'm going to do what I want with it, and you can't make me take the vaccine.
Right.
We got the folks in New York. I know people that are getting fired right now. They work for the city of New York because they refuse to take the vaccine.
Right.
So, you know, what are your thoughts on that as it is today?
Being a person that had COVID and I had it and I thought I was going to die, for real.
Tell me about your experience with COVID.
Well, when I got it, it came subtle. And then it just hit me on that. I was feeling bad one day, second day. I was in the bed and couldn't get out the third day. And as men, we don't go to the doctors like we should. And I was thinking, okay, this will pass, or you try to normalize it. Oh, I'll be all right. And then here come day 4, day 5, and you getting worse and worse. And then you start getting scared.
It's a gradual worse.
Yeah, because, you know, as men, we think we can shake it off. Or if we just rest today, it'll be all right tomorrow. And then, you know, the type of effect that it has on your respiratory.
Could you breathe?
No.
So you talking about you at the house could barely breathe?
Yes. I had to go to the hospital. They sent me back with a respirator, a thing to put in my nose to get, and it still wasn't enough.
That's scary.
And at a certain point, you're starting to say, okay, so this is what they've been talking about. Because you're experiencing it. And you always have a different perspective when you are experiencing it, because only you know how bad it is. And to the point where I was having missed calls and family members showing up at the house.
Worried about you.
Worried. Because I was, you know, I was just in bad shape. And I'm drinking water, I'm drinking this, I'm trying to take the right medicine to kick it, and it wasn't making any impact. It has to run its course. And I understand now where some people with pre-existing medical issues, getting it that severe, and then it kills them. I get it. I don't think I would have kind of quite gotten it if I hadn't experienced it. So back to your question of the Kyrie versus whatever's going on. Kyrie has that choice. It's his body. But you can't cry on the other side either. Get the money up, because that goes with the job. They're not obligated to pay you if you're not performing for them. It's a job.
But look how it had changed from week to week, though. They said this one week, they said, okay, well, we're going to let you do testing. I mean, I think that people in New York, since he's in New York, right? Like, because he's in New York,
yes,
he's mandated.
Yes.
But a player from another state can come in and play.
Can come over and play.
Is that not crazy?
It is. I think it needs to be a mandate straight across the board, league-wise.
That's crazy.
And not be relegated to the state they're coming out of or the city they're coming. For example, here in Memphis, you have to show your vaccination card. Or
they doing that now?
Oh, they've been doing that.
Where you got to show it at?
Before you enter the building as a fan.
Oh, okay.
So you got to show that you've had
FedEx
at
form.
least, yes, FedEx form. You got to show that you've had a test within 48 hours or your vaccination
I like
card.
the option.
Yeah.
Do me here or do me here.
Right.
Don't just force no.
It's a hard call to say, yeah, you got to take it. I'm like, I don't want to take it. And
you can't make me take it.
You can't make me take it. But as far as his job is related and with the point that you just made, well, what about all these players flying in from these other parts of the country into the same city? Because all of them on the court together.
That's wrong.
It's not right policy by the league. If you're going to make it mandated for him as an individual related to a team, you need to make it or step in and tell that team you can't enforce that with that player.
Yeah.
Where's the players' union?
Where are they?
Standing up saying, hey, hold on.
Maybe they playing both sides of the fence, I think.
Right.
Their feet are probably held to the fire, too.
And everybody's having a wait-and-see approach to it.
Yes.
Now, who's going to break first is going to be the question.
Who's going to die first, too? Oof. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Are you going to get a booster?
Yeah.
So you pro-medicine. You like, give me that stuff.
I ain't trying to.
Because I felt it, and I don't want that no more.
Ain't nothing like this big old dude being stretched out and can't function.
Yeah.
And be really incapacitated. And I didn't want to go too graphic into the respiratory part, but that stuff was like super glue. I'm looking at it. I'm like, because that's what it does.
The mucus, super glue coming out of you. Oh my God.
That's what gets you in the respiratory because you can't cough it up, and then there's no medicine to loosen it up, so it sits there and it increases.
It's sitting on your lungs,
and you can't get it off of you. So they try to treat it and break it down as much as they can, but it's a super virus for real.
Do you think it's man-made?
Yeah, they did that over there in Wuhan. They hooked us up. Notice how the president was talking about tariffs, and then how all of a sudden we started talking about this. We sure got up off that, didn't we?
Quick,
they're like, oh, okay, I got something for him. Biowarfare.
Biowarfare.
And they sent it on over here. It literally started, I think, either in Seattle or New York, and then next thing you know, it spread across the United States in a matter of 2 weeks.
Yeah, because I think they were having some event there in China, and then people flew back to their respective countries, and bam, the pandemic.
And it spread so hard, and you couldn't stop it. It was a runaway train.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we're going to have to move forward and learn how to live with this COVID, right? And the new strands that are coming.
Yeah. The necessaries in life have changed. And it's making us much more intentional about our moves because, like the event that we attended, you know, everybody was like, hey, how you doing? Fist bump. You know, even now, got your mask? Okay, cool. Let's wrap. And everybody's social distancing. And that's important we should have been doing that anyway.
Yeah, but
Some
we weren't.
No,
we was just living like it's 1999 and no end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
So, you know.
Well, Kier, how can everybody learn more about Western Tennessee A&M, and how can they sign up?
You can go to mywestam.org, and that's spelled MYWEST, the letter A, the letter M.org, and all the information is on the homepage in terms of getting in contact with us about our programs that we offer. Yeah.
And how old do you have to be?
There is no minimum age. You
See, I knew it.
No
it
minimum
couldn't have
age.
been. It couldn't have been.
No. In fact, the younger the better, because the younger they are, they breathe in, breathe out technology. So the learning curve is real short for them.
Very short.
Yeah, I was teaching 5-year-olds how to build computers.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I got pictures of it. I got videos of it.
Well, Kier, I love what you're doing. I wish we had more time to talk. Me and you might have to do a part 2, like launch off into another kind of podcast situation over here. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But before we go, I do want you to tell everybody in the Verbally Effective audience, why do you choose Memphis?
I choose Memphis because Memphis is me. It's in my vibes. I travel the world, and everybody loves people from Memphis.
Why is that?
You know, we got a certain swag. I'm serious. They can tell us a mile away. They want to hear us talk, and they want to hear how we think. And we're so broad in the way we approach certain things, and we're laid back. And we really introduce cool wherever we go. And that's why I love Memphis. We introduce cool.
The originators.
Come on now. Who can come up with soul music and rock and roll and the blues?
All right here.
Right here.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. Well, Kier, thank you so much. Did you give your social media handle as well?
Yes. You can reach me at Kier, Kier _Thomas on Instagram. You can reach me at Kier Thomas on LinkedIn, Kier Thomas, Kier Thomas on Facebook. And I'm getting into that other stuff later, but I guarantee you it will be Kier Thomas as well.
Yes, yes. And, you know, a big shout out to Michael Mosby for making the introduction to you, Kier. I really appreciate what you're doing. And I'm sure we'll be working together on more projects in the future.
I look forward to it.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you, Verbally Effective audience, for allowing me to enter your world digitally today. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast on all streaming platforms. Also, subscribe on YouTube on the Ina Esco channel. Check out the merch at ivymultimediashop.com. And thanks again for tuning in to yet another episode of the Verbally Effective Podcast.